So here we are near Rollins Pass in Colorado, which is a historic pass that kind of goes over the Moffat Tunnel area between Rollins, Colorado, and Winter Park. Actually, the Amtrak Zephyr is a passenger train that goes through the Moffat Tunnel, which is about 6.5 miles under the Continental Divide, under us right now. Back in the early 1900s, though, when they couldn't go through the mountain, before they figured out how to do that, they built a railroad over the mountain, over Rollins Pass, about 12,000 feet or so, actually a little lower than that. But we're walking down the old rail track right now, excuse me, and as you can see, there's a lot of wooden debris and stuff. Back at Rollins Pass behind us, which we'll show you later, they had like a hotel and a town site and things. There's some old photos online on Wikipedia about the hotel site and how much snow they had to go through every year with the train, and they had a train through the tunnel. They would try to dig it out, but that was too much. So they put the train in a snow tunnel made out of wood and things. But of course, being a cold tunnel in a cold train in a tunnel, people started getting, they started suffocating. They started getting sick from the coal fumes inside the tunnel. So overall, it was a very dangerous place to be. But even before the railroad, they had a wagon road up here. A guy actually started a wagon road with a toll on it, and he would charge a toll for people to go up and over this pass. And he maintained the road by putting rail ties down on the ground to make sure that the road didn't, erode too fast, and that wagons could actually get some traction going up with their animals. Obviously, that was a pretty tough road, according to some of the stuff in Wikipedia and online. So they went train route, and then they ultimately decided to go through the mountain. Another piece of interesting history up here is the Needles Tunnel, which I'm not sure if we'll get to today, but this train track would go through the tunnel after going over these trestles that we're going to show you in a little bit here. And the tunnel was the highest tunnel, I believe, in the world at the time when they built it. I mean, it was cut straight through the rock. They used to allow cars to pass up here after all that stuff shut down, but then the Needles Tunnel started caving in, and so they had to shut the pass. So motor vehicles are not allowed to go over the pass anymore, but you can get pretty high up. There's a nice parking spot back there at Rollins Pass from the Winter Park side, and then, to get up from the Rollins, Colorado side, you can drive up about 9 miles or so, and then either walk up to the tunnel or bike up to it and go over the tunnel. They don't actually allow anybody to go through the tunnel anymore, motorized or not. So a lot of interesting history in this area, and we'll show you that trestle pretty soon. All right, we're at the western trestle here, and as you can tell, it looks pretty old. It is old, about 100 years old. I've ridden my bike across it in a separate video that I can point you to later. But for now, my wife and I are going to go ahead and walk across this thing. I'll put this a little bit higher so you can have a better view. So there's 3 or 4 beams of support for each side of the train track that would come through here. And you can see them through the wood here a little bit. If we stop here in the middle, you can see some of the wood's just falling apart. I mean, it is old wood. A lot of debris down there, and shoot, long fall. Biking up here, you gotta be careful too. I don't know if you can see another 360, but nails are coming out everywhere. So we're on approach to the east trestle now, and as you can tell, for trainers rolling through here, it's cliffside view. For those who are on this side, not a whole lot of room. And then in the winter, of course, there'll be snow side view. There'll be feet of snow on both sides of the train. Very cool area. Down below, actually, is a couple of trails from the Hesse trailhead from the Front Range that going up to Betty and Bob Lake, Coon Lake, and Woodland Lakes, and so on. And over there is north and south of Arapahoe Peak, which comes up from the 4th of July trailhead. And on the other side of Arapahoe Peak is a glacier. And then I don't know if you can tell on the 360, but we can see the Front Range. We can see fields, farmland out there in the Front Range. And I believe, yeah, we're looking at that pointy peak over there is Sugarloaf. That pointy peak over there. And over there are the back sides of the Flatirons. Get you a higher up view up here. The Flatirons over there, Sugarloaf, and so on, Mount Sanitas, which puts Boulder right there as well, and Broomfield beyond. So, neat place overall. Let's go climb this one now. All right. So now we are crossing the east trestle. This one's a little not as secure as the west one. No handrails or anything like that. Nails popping out everywhere. I'll show you on this side too. Yeah, the trestle, I don't know if you can tell, it's out of camber, so walking on it's a little funky. Definitely feels a little insecure walking on it. You can smell the resin they used to treat the wood. This is 100-year-old wood or more, but it's still holding pretty strong for the most part. And that's pretty cool. So we're gonna go over here, get out of her photo. But to think that's been standing for all this time, all the feet of snow it supports every year, the trains that it supported, the people, the bikes, all that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool after 100 years. It's a very cool place. We're going to see if we can take you to the tunnel now. We can show you that, and then we'll head on back to Rollins Pass and the hotel rooms. A little more history about this area. It's very dangerous, especially on this side, the Front Range side of the Rollins Pass. This whole, you can see right here, there's a trail over here these people are walking down. I've actually mountain biked this before. It's very steep, very chunky. Doesn't look like it from here, but trust me it is. I biked all along there. That is the old Wagon Trail. That's the old toll road that the guy would charge people to go up Rollins Pass, and he'd have his logs laid up along that area there. Imagine trying to get oxen to pull your wagon up that thing right there, and then having to go over the pass beyond that. Some other tidbits about this area is, I believe this is Liberty Lake, I don't quite remember, but this snowfield here actually creates a dangerous avalanche spot in the winter. It's 2021. I recall hearing last year, or I think it was last year, that two backcountry skiers came up here and they were skiing this spot right around here, and the whole thing just avalanched right into that lake. One skier came out and the other didn't. There's been several plane crashes up here. The weather, this is essentially, Rollins Pass is essentially a saddle for the Continental Divide, so a lot of wind and weather pushes through this area. And so of course flying low, if you're doing visual flight especially, dangerous, weather can pop up very quickly. So a lot of deaths have happened in this area. A lot of deaths from, not only skiing, but snowmobiling as well. this whole area back here can get really rough. And then of course from trains and building the rails and so on. Just a very steep section. This road down here that hopefully you can see the motorcycle on, those cars down there, that is the Rollins Pass side of the road that comes up from Rollins, Colorado. And it goes on down to that section down there and continues on down towards the Front Range. As you can see, the tunnel here, or the tunnel that we're about to come up on, is heavily blocked off because it is falling apart. And we'll be there in a minute, and we'll take a look in there. We won't go in, but we'll get pretty close. So, see you in a sec. At the Needles Eye Tunnel, at one point the world's highest tunnel in the world, highest rail tunnel, and they used to have cars pass through here and going up that road there, over Rollins Pass. Seems crazy now. There's just not a whole lot of room right there. But yeah, they used to pass through this area, and what I'd like to do is take you a little closer to the tunnel. I don't plan on going in the tunnel. At least I can put you over the top of it, give you a good glance, hopefully. Maybe. See, definitely debris in there. The place is kind of caving in. Not really where you want to be in a car or a train. I imagine during some storms, especially in winter, the wind probably just howls through this thing. Yeah, the weather can get pretty crazy up here. But definitely the USDA, US Forest Service, and so on, transportation have done their best to block it off from anything motorized going through. And obviously, they don't want people climbing in or biking through. But you can get to the other side by going over the top. There's a walking and bike and mountain bike trail, essentially, that'll take you right over the top to the other side of the tunnel. And it pretty much looks like this. Except the road continues on down through another railroad cut, through some other bars and a blockade like you saw before. The view on the other side is just as good as this side. You end up taking a look at Forest Lakes and some of that area as you walk on down the trail. So that's it. Rollins Pass. Pretty cool place. So we decided not to go over the tunnel, but I've been up there before on that ridge back there. And on top of the ridge, the first time I had gone up there, I saw some interesting looking kind of like dugouts and windbreaks and some sort of walls. I was very curious about what that was. So I'm pretty sure I went to Wikipedia or maybe another site, and sure enough they had mentioned that Native Americans, very, very long time ago, were up there corralling game as they came over the pass, deer and buffalo and things. As they would come over the pass, they would corral the game in between these walls and have these hovels where they would hide out, and they would pop up and spear the game or shoot them with arrows or whatever they were doing, throwing rocks at them, and that's how they would get a lot of their food up here on this pass. And I thought that was pretty neat because that says a lot about how long people have been up in this area for, just passing over the Continental Divide. This is one of the lowest points where you're able to do that through central to northern Colorado. And it's been well used for thousands of years, really. Actually, you can see a person. Looks like they're either looks like they're probably biking over the top where they're moving. Two people up there, but yeah, you just come right over that ridge, right over the top of the tunnel, and you see a whole bunch of bricks and other things. So pretty cool. All right, so here we are back at Rollins Pass, Rollins Pass, also known as Corona Pass. You can see there's a lot of people up here, and the trailhead over there with a little graphic of mountains and safety advice and all that. A lot of UTV tours come up here from the Winter Park side. And what we're going to do now is walk up over that way and go see the old Corona town site hotel ruins. They used to be up on this ridge up here. So let's go check it out. So here we are at the site of the ruined Corona Hotel, burned down nearly 100 years ago, and you can see though it had quite a view up here on Rollins Pass, and it was substantial size. I think it was a 2-story, and of course the railroad would come through there through the Needles Eye Tunnel and over the Trestles and come on up here, stop up here to unload. Tourists would come up here and stay the night in this old hotel building here. You can see the room is probably pretty small. Multiple stories. And the view from up here is just amazing. You're on the Continental Divide, literally on the Continental Divide. And of course, if you wanted to go full around, go walk some other trails, there's the High Lonesome over the Devil's Thumb. There's, Rollins Pass. And Epworth, so quite an area for sure. Let's go over here and check out the view from the overlook. Walking over here to the overlook, trying to avoid stepping on dendritic plants when it's possible. It's right over here, and you can hear the falls down below. Let's go over here. Animals do it all the time. So cute to get in much further. At Rollins Pass, and let's see, there we are down here and there, and really nice map of the area. Again, looking for where we are at. We're up here. There's all those different ghost towns on the way down. Toland is still there, and it goes on out to Rollins, Colorado that way. here, the Moffat Tunnel, and a couple of water tunnels going down near Winter Park and Fraser and so on. And we go back here, and we got the full story for Rollins Pass. But I also encourage you to go check it out on Wikipedia and on Google. There's some historical society pages out there that talk about it. All really cool information. Very cool. Check it out. Alright, so come down off Rollins Pass, and Rollins Pass is up there. There's a road coming around past Mount Epworth. And here we are at the Rogers Pass Trail, and also the lower Trestle. Just wanted to come over here and show you that real quick. So this used to be a spiral that would take the trail down to a lower elevation, or at least it used to be part of one. As you can see, this trestle is not doing so good as the other ones are, but still pretty cool nonetheless. And still pretty neat.